Hey friends, popping in here to say something real fast because we mentioned this at the end of the podcast, but I want to make sure you guys hear it right at the beginning. We are 3 weeks away from our LO Sister Conference, and if you go buy your ticket at losisterconference.com, because you're a What's Good podcast listener, you can use the code WOE20 and get $20 off your ticket. We cannot wait to be in the room with you guys. What's up, Well That's Good fam? Happy Wednesday, everybody. I hope you're having a great week. But friends, it's about to get so much better because we have one of your favorite guests, my favorite guest on the podcast for the 100th time, probably. We have Kay Swaggy, my mom, back on the podcast. Thanks for coming on.
I'm so happy to be on. I always love to sit and talk to you, any excuse. And also, I also love our new set because I get this side. And you know how...
Yeah, which was a whole discussion, by the way. And it's not just you. Everybody gets that side, which you can take it personal and be grateful. But no, when they put me here and I was like, okay, guys, this is not really my side, but that's okay. And the team was so sweet. They're like, oh, we can change it around to where it can be your side. Like, you should be confident, like, doing these podcasts. And I'm like, well, I need to get over myself and be confident no matter what side I have.
That's right.
So.
And also when you're like 20, how old are you, 25?
What?
I should know this.
27,
27.
Bruh.
I'm so bad. When you're 27, every side is your side. So, I need a little extra help. So I was telling them when I sat down, I was like, oh, I love that I have this side because I never get this side because both you and Bella like this side as well in pictures.
Which is also a problem for me and Bella.
Y'all both like this side in pictures. And I, of course, as the mom, always sacrifice and take the side that's not my side in pictures because I want my daughters to have the side that they want. But anyway, yesterday, literally, you don't even know this yet, but yesterday, Honey and Ella... So they were playing and they were being so cute. And I was like, oh, let me take your picture. And Honey was like, I want that side. I want Ella on this side. I was like, oh, no. It's already started.
And just for the record, I don't say that kind of stuff in front of her.
She did not hear it.
I never make a big deal about what side I'm on besides the one time when we sit in this podcast chair and I thought to myself, I'm committing to my bad side. That's the only time I made a deal about it when I was like, I'm literally committing to episodes.
I literally don't think she heard it from you. I think it was she had been on that side.
Oh,
and
well, that is
whenever
accurate.
I came to take the picture, they switched, Ella switched over to the other side. And it was like, oh no, she wanted
Honey's
that side.
very routine, in the sense of if I was on that side, I'm gonna stay on that side. And then tomorrow, guess what? I'm gonna be on that side again. Yes. And that's just her territory from now on out. So yeah, I can see that happening, but I don't think it was about that.
No, I don't either. Side. But when she did it made me laugh because I was like, here we go, girls wanting their side.
It is funny because all of our cousins on your side of the family, that we all had the same side. So when we line up with Two Mama, it's a race to who's going to get on the right side. So
and then me and Two Mama always just have to be in the middle because we're okay.
What a great mom, which is
Thank you.
Actually what we're talking about on the podcast today about motherhood, because we have a really exciting thing. So if you guys have been keeping up in the LO world, there's a lot of things happening in the LO world. I mean, we have our conference right around the corner, and I'll talk about that in a second. But we also have just done this really sweet thing where we did an LO Sister podcast, and that's wrapping up here in a second with season 1. We're going to make those seasonal, so they're not going to be all the time, just little pockets of time, and they're shorter podcasts. It's with friends in our community, with all the different people. And kind of the purpose of the LO Sister podcast is to show people there is a lot of girls and women out there who love Jesus and love people and love Jesus and people well. And we want you to see a community of people having good and hard conversations, and wanted you to feel welcome into that. Because I feel like a lot of people, say to me oh, I wish there was more people like you. I wish there's more people doing what you're doing. And I'm like, there's so many people like me, if what you're saying is that love Jesus and love people. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of people who have great conversations. And a lot of people have said to me, I don't even know how to have these conversations with my friends. I don't know how to be intentional with the words I choose. And I feel like that was a great season of just intentional conversations, talking about some good things. Well, from that kind of topic, we also you decided to start a podcast, and you kind of asked me like, should I do LO Mama? Which to me, I was like, you would do that? Like you would make it an LO thing, because you could go do your podcast and it could be Korie Robertson, period, and it would reach so many people and do great. But you wanted to do something with LO. And speaking of the conference coming up, I think one of the things that we've been surprised by in the best way is how all generations like come to the conference, from grandmothers, mothers, daughters. And it's not just like they're coming for their daughters, they're coming alongside their daughters. And they're the ones that are getting baptized at the end. They're the ones that are up at the front worshiping. Like it's not like just a thing for young girls, it's a thing for all women. And so I was like super grateful when you thought to do a podcast for the moms listening to, and even women who are about to be moms or whatever season of life they're in. So tell me a little bit about your just desire to start LO Mama.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it actually did come from the LO Sister Conference, because we've hosted like a family. One of the breakout sessions has been a family one that I've hosted every year, and just seeing how many people sign up and what a hunger there is. And we usually do like a Q&A, and we get so many questions, and, you know, just having that space and seeing how many young moms, older moms in like all phases of life come to the conference.
Young women who didn't have moms in
right.
their life, or spiritual mothers. Like, I think that's a big part of that too.
Yeah, that's a part of it. I was thinking about, you know, you tell the story about when you feel like the Lord kind of put on your heart to be a sister and a friend to everyone. I think through the LO Sister Conference, God has like put on my heart to kind of be that mama to everyone. And so, because people came up to me at the conference so much, and a lot of them said things like, I don't have a mom that I can, you know, learn from or necessarily look up to, some, you know, through loss, or some because their mom wasn't the example that they really needed in their life. And so they would say things like, I don't have that. So seeing you and Sadie's relationship, you and Bella, your relationship with your girls, I can kind of see what that looks like, or what that might feel like. And I'm learning from y'all. And so what a like sweet thing to hear from people, that we get to kind of like be that and show that for people. And so hearing that, I know you always tell about how like when you feel like the Lord really said to you, be a sister and a friend. I don't know that like I had that like God said to me, be a mama to people, but through people, he said that to me, you know, through people coming up and saying, hey, you're like a mom to me because I watch your relationship and I'm learning. And some people even like, I'm not a mom yet, but my desire is to be. Yeah. And so I'm learning from you. I'm taking notes. I'm trying to figure out, how do I have a relationship with one day with my kids that you have? So that's been a really sweet thing. Beautiful. And so through that, I was like, okay, if I'm going to do something, what if I did a podcast about being a mama? Because that's my greatest joy in life. The best gift, the best thing I get to do in all of life is get to be a mom. And so why don't I just talk about that? So we did one season. We just recorded a season with one of my really good friends, Beth Redman. She flew in, and we just had lots of conversations about parenthood and what it's like to be a mom in all stages. We really tried to kind of cover the gamut of like, from toddlers to high schoolers, middle schoolers, which is a whole subject of its own, to high schoolers, to moms, being a mom of adults, to being a grandparent and all that. So I think we covered a lot of territory.
We covered a lot.
We did.
And then they were like, it would be so fun if we had our daughters on. And so you asked me to come on. Beth asked Maisie to come on, which if you listen to the podcast consistently, you guys probably saw the podcast with Maisie and her dad, Matt. So that's who that was. And we were supposed to do just like short little 5 minutes at the end. And of course, we all talk way too much. And so what do we even do with those?
I think it became a whole other episode of its own, yes. Because, we were like, oh, why don't y'all come in and just kind of talk about for a few minutes about the topic. But once we sat down, we just like, everyone poured their hearts out. We cried, we laughed, all the things, and just got really vulnerable because we're not all perfect as moms, that is for sure. And so it was really cool to just be able to sit and hear from y'all about the things maybe we did well and the things we didn't do so well. And we can be honest about that and talk about that. And if it can help others by being honest about those things, then all the better.
Yeah, no, y'all were so open to that, and you really wanted that. I remember like Maisie and I sat down, and one of the first questions is like, what did we do wrong? And it's like you and Beth and like all the cameras are like, for real? Like, we gonna talk about this? No, it was just so honest. And I think having us on was special because, you can say all day long as a mom, like, oh, I think I did this right. I think I did that right. But to have like the fruit behind you, to be like, no, that was really good, or that was kind of hard, or whatever, I think it's going to be so helpful for people to listen to. And like you said, so many people say, I want a relationship like that or whatnot with their mom or with their daughter. And we always say, like, you can be the one to start it if you don't have that in your family. But at the same time, it is hard to start something if you didn't have an example of it. And if you don't have an example of it. And let's be honest, like television doesn't always give us the greatest examples of that. Social media, it can't give us the full example of that in some capacity. You can kind of see glimpses. And so this is just another resource to help be an example to that for moms out there who are desiring to have a relationship with their daughter or vice versa or whatnot. And I think you guys did a great job. You opened up the door to talk about a lot of really fun things and good things. And for me, I'm so grateful because I come to you a lot with like, you will not believe what honey just said to me. How do I even like, and she's 3 years old and I'm already like, how do I handle this?
She is smart. I will say that.
Like, I mean, it's just, she is so smart. I mean, the other day we had this moment where, people always ask about, is it hard to work like as a mom? Because a lot of moms work out there. So I'm not saying this is unique to me. A lot of moms work. But for the moms who do work, we have had conversations with other moms. Like, it is hard. You do kind of sometimes feel like guilty for leaving and stuff. But at the same time, like, that you're doing the right thing for your family and whatnot. But the other day, Honey and Haven are like playing with all the little babies at the house. And we have so many babies. They're like totally in the baby doll era, which I love because I love baby dolls. And Honey is like, okay, Haven, I'm going to be the mommy. So I'm going to go on an airplane real fast, go to work, and I'll be right back. And I was like, oh my gosh. Is that how we be the mommy? Okay. And, it's like those moments that you're like,
okay. You should be proud of that because she's proud of you because you do that. You do things like that. And one day she's going to look back and be like, I am so proud of my mom because she worked really hard and she did these amazing things. And she got to see that as an example. Plus, you also are very present and very there with your children mom as well. But it's hard to balance.
At least she did say, I'll be right back.
And that's right. She did. Okay. No, that's way better. Listen, no, you probably don't remember this, but when you were like kindergarten, they had this like little thing for Mother's Day and they had y'all do little drawings of like, my mom does this or my mom does that. And it said like, my mom likes to. And you drew me in a bed sleeping. You're like, my mom likes to sleep.
That's true.
I do like to sleep. I mean, I had like 4 little kids. I was loving my sleep at that time. And I was so embarrassed. I was like, they probably think that I'm like depressed and in bed all the time. They probably thought I had a problem.
They probably were worried.
They probably were. Like I was envisioning like all the rest of the kids are like, my mom likes to like play on the swing set with me or cook a meal or do this. And you're like, my mom likes to sleep.
She likes to sleep.
Yes.
That is hilarious.
But I do like my Sunday afternoon nap. So
the truth is, you do like your Sunday afternoon nap. So like when I think back about you as a mom, yes, there was a consistent Sunday afternoon nap, which I respect now, and try to force in my household as well.
Y'all all hated because Sunday afternoons was like, we are all taking a nap.
Yes.
Like, I don't care how old you are. I still need a nap, so you're taking a nap. So it was literally the rule. Mom takes a nap. Everyone has to go to their own rooms and just rest. It's a day of rest, right?
Yes.
And so I think that was very significant in your mind that like...
It was.
I slept on Sunday afternoons.
And I didn't like it, but now I'm trying to model it. So respect. But actually, when I look back, one of the things that helps me whenever Honey said like, hey, I'm going to be the mommy. And she always will be like, I'm going to Texas and I'll be right back. Like she'll say like state she's going to. Be right back, Haven. Anywho, I think about that's how you were. Like you were gone a lot, but you were so present, but also like traveling, doing your thing. Y'all were starting Duck Commander. Y'all were doing a TV show. Like it was crazy. But
Absolutely.
But I don't think about you being gone all the time. I think about you doing really cool things and then like you being there for us. And I was telling a friend that the other day because she's a stay-at-home mom, but she deals with guilt for even just going out with her friends for lunch or like going to a dinner. She's like, I always feel bad to leave the girls and like I need it because I'm tired and exhausted and all that stuff. And I was like, you know, just trying to give her some confidence in that. Like, hey, you're going to be a better mom. Like when you come back and you're full of life and more energy and rested or whatnot. And I told her about you. I was like, my mom like traveled a lot and I do not look at her and think like, oh, you were gone so much. Or I mean, the only thing that I laugh at you for was whenever it was my 13th birthday and I had to make my Gmail with my best friend, not you, but that's okay because I was gone. Because you were gone. You were selling duck calls. It's okay. Again, respect. But like I don't look at it and like think that
you survived.
And so it gives me confidence knowing like hopefully my girls feel the same way, and I think they do.
I will say my mom, to Mama, she was such a good example to me for that too, because like that, she was super present as a mom and still is, obviously as a grandmother and a great grandmother. But she and Dad went on trips and they left us with our grandparents and we were totally fine. And she actually, this is like, you're going to die about this, which I do not remember it. So this proves, because I was probably 3 or 4 maybe even, or maybe older. They went to Singapore with my aunt and uncle because his family lived over there at that time period. His dad worked like in oil over there or something. So they went to Singapore over Christmas and left me and my brother. And I can't remember if my sister was born yet either.
What?
For Christmas.
Legitimately Christmas?
Yes.
Like the 25th?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I think they faked a Christmas another time because we were too little. We didn't know. And then they were gone and we stayed with the grandparents and it was great.
It was probably epic for y'all because you're with your grandparents.
Exactly.
And it's fun.
It was so fun. And so like my mom would always like not let me have any guilt for any of that. Say like your kids are fine. Like you can go. And another thing I was thinking about as you were saying that, Jordan Peterson says, which do I bring up him every time?
I was going to say, if y'all haven't realized this yet, this is her, like, not to say like far away crush, but this is her idol, not really idol. I can't think of the right word for it, but Mom listens to him every day.
None of that. No, not every day.
Mom will be like, listen to this from Jordan Peterson. It's really good. And then I'll call her and be like, were you supposed to not understand it? Because when does it click? When do you go, oh, okay, I get it. But I'm reaching up.
Let me say this.
I'm just kidding. I love Jordan Peterson.
Let me say this. So he talks about, he does talk about being present as moms and dads and all that with your kids. But one thing he says is like, give your kids something to aim for as an adult. Kids like, they're going to like always want to be, they don't want to grow up because they don't see parents and adults living a good life, living an adventurous life all that. And so I thought that was a really good encouragement to say like, let your kids look for something to look forward to as adults.
These days, it can be hard to keep up with all the things they say you should and shouldn't do to stay healthy. It seems like it changes every day. Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. And drinking AG1 every day is pretty much as simple as it gets. Just 1 scoop a day mixed into water gives me the boost of energy and focus that I need to power through whatever the day holds. Every serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more. It's the easiest way to meet my nutritional needs and feel my best. Plus, it's a quality product that goes through serious testing and is backed by multiple research studies. AG1 supports my brain, gut, and immune health, which is seriously important with a house full of kids, and just daily life and work and all the things. You want to be feeling your best. AG1 has been shown to double the amount of healthy bacteria in your gut and is packed with rhodiola and vitamin B for energy support. Many of us probably feel like we could use a little extra energy, right? And AG1 has you covered with that. A recent research study showed that 97% of people felt more energy after drinking AG1 for just 30 days daily, which I have to say, my experience was literally the first time I drank AG1, I felt better energy that day. So for me, it was a pretty fast game changer from all around health, but especially my focus and my energy. There's a reason I've been loving my daily AG1 for so long and talk about it all the time. It's an all-in-one solution to lots of health problems and wellness needs, and without the hassle of mixing and matching pills, powders, and all the different things. You know, Christian actually started drinking AG1 before I did, and I honestly didn't think it was going to be something I would be into because he is that guy. Like, he's taking care of his health, drinking all the things, making himself feel better. And sometimes I'm just like, oh man, I could probably use some vitamins or something. So anyways, I finally tried AG1 and I'm like, why have I not been drinking this? One, it tastes good to me. Like, I genuinely like the taste. Two, I'm getting all the vitamins I need in one simple drink of a glass of water. This is like a no-brainer. So I immediately noticed the health benefits. I immediately was like shocked that I hadn't tried it before, and I absolutely loved it. So if there's one product I trust to support my whole body's health, it's AG1, and that's why we've been partnered together for so long. It's easy and satisfying to start your journey with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 plus K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/whoa. Again, that's drinkag1.com/whoa to check it out today. That is like perfect because we already recorded this podcast that's coming out, I think next week. I think it's Monday. So you can't get enough of K-Swaggy, y'all, because we're doing an aging podcast. We already did it with Mama Joe, my great-grandmother, my grandmother to mom, and me. And that's what I kept saying. I was like, a lot of my friends are scared of like aging. And I was talking about, which y'all are going to hear, about like turning 30. And my friends have been like, oh, we're turning 30. Like, it's so crazy. But I don't feel that fear of aging because I've seen you guys age so well. And not just age well, like physically, obviously y'all are beautiful, but you've aged well with like the excitement of life. Like, you've stayed hopeful for the next chapter and like kept living in every chapter. And even Mama Joe, like, I mean, after we filmed the podcast, she texted us and was like, hey, when does the podcast come out? I'm driving to Shreveport today to hang out with some friends and I want to tell them when it's coming out. I was just like, you're 93 years old, driving to Shreveport to hang out with your friends, and this is what you want to chat about. But it's like just hopeful in every season. And like, it's just so, like, you just age so well. So I'm excited for people to hear that podcast because it was fantastic. And I love that you just pointed that out. Do you want to talk about some of the things that we are going to talk about in Ella Mama that you and Beth tackle? Because it can give people a little something to look forward to. Plus, we can go ahead and talk about some of these topics ourselves.
Okay. Yeah. I printed out like all the things because I wanted to remind ourselves of the things we talked about. And so we did start off with parenting fails. So just so you know.
I told you that was the first question. It's like, what did we do wrong? And we're like, whoa, okay.
Just so you know, we are not perfect. We didn't do it all right, but you survived and your kids will too. So yeah, parenting fails was the first. And then
I love how you look to camera. You're like, and your kids will too.
That's
that needs to be a social clip. Hey guys, you survived and your kids will too. Somebody need to hear that today. And she looked you in the eye to say
it. All right. So that's where we started. Yes, we wanted to start there. And then
parenting fails, man. You know, we were talking about this the other day. It's like, you just, again, you cannot be the perfect parent and you're going to mess up, and there's grace for the journey. But one thing that has been really cool now that Honey is like old enough to like hold a conversation is just the power of you apologizing, you know, and like, it's just been really cool with Honey. Like, I'll be like, hey, I'm sorry that I got upset or whatever. And now she is doing that to us. Like the other day, she was like, it was funny because Christian didn't do anything. And she's like, I'm sorry, Mommy, Daddy just really made me mad. And Christian's over there like, what did I do? But like, she's communicating like why I've been upset is because Daddy made me mad, and that's why I've been crying. And then I'll go, okay, well, do you want to go talk to him and, you know, say you're sorry that, because when she got mad, she, you know, had a little attention. Do you want to go say you're sorry for how you acted? And she's like, no, I'm still mad about it. Oh, no. Like, okay, well, when you're ready to say you're sorry, then we'll circle back. Yeah. And then she went back to her room, thought about it for a little bit, and then she was ready to say her sorry. But it is cool to like model that, hey, I messed up. Like, you know, and how, you know, your kids start doing that too.
It's important. It is so important. And also like, Even I think that's showing respect for your kids, because like you want them to respect you, and they need to see that modeled as well.
Yeah.
It's
To be
really
honest,
good.
I can't even remember what I said about a parenting fail for you. Like, I don't remember. So that's encouraging.
That is
I
encouraging.
can't remember. And I really can't think of anything. I'm like, what? I really don't know. Not that you didn't, obviously,
Yeah.
like you're human, but I do think that like your kids probably have more grace for you than you realize.
That's so
you know?
true. Yeah, that's so true. Sometimes we hold those things within ourselves and we remember the things that we did wrong, rather than whenever you're looking at someone else and you're like, I don't even remember that.
Yeah. And you do so much life with like your parents, obviously, that like
Yeah.
you just have to move on. You know, like
Right,
you're
yeah.
really big about not holding grudges.
No.
And actually that's been something that Christian and I have, it's been funny in our relationship because he like did not understand that about me. He's like someone will do something to me and it will be bad, and then I'll be like upset about it, and then if they say they're sorry and I forgive them, I forget. Like I literally can't remember.
Yeah.
And it's like bad, it's good and it's bad, because then I'll see them and I'll be like, hey, and then Christian's like, how can you do that? Like, and I'm like, oh, well, I actually kind of forgot about that because we've moved on.
Yeah.
But when I think back to it, you were so big, like, do not hold a grudge. Like, do not hold a grudge. That is just harder for you than it is for anyone. Like, just forgive people, you know?
It really does only hurt you. And I do think also part of it is like what you think about. Like if you continue to think about the bad things, then that's, your day is going to be worse if you just keep bringing those things up. But if you train your brain to like think about the good things, think about the fun parts or the special parts or the good memories with somebody, then it can really help. Not to ignore.
Yeah, don't ignore.
And deal with the things that, you need to deal with for sure. But also it is a part of like what you think about is what kind of grows and becomes whatever in your life.
Yeah.
So,
and the things that I'm thinking of right now that I'm referencing are like petty things.
Yeah.
It's like, don't let
somebody
that,
said
like,
something to
don't
you,
lose
or
sleep over
somebody
that. Don't
made
let
a comment, or
ruin a friendship or whatever.
Right.
And I feel like, and Christian's better at that too, but he's more like justice oriented. So he's like, that was wrong, Like, yeah, it was wrong, but like I do wrong things too, and I'm glad people forgive me, you know, and move on. But I think like in parenting, especially, like you're doing the next day with your kids, so like just have a new next day, like do something different. And then now I really can't think of the things that you and dad like failed in because we've moved on and like we've had so many days and like good days, good memories. And so, that's why it's funny sitting here. I'm like, can't really think of that. And that's probably really encouraging to all you moms out there that like you can move on.
That's good. That's encouraging. Also, your kids forget some of the good things too. So that's kind of unfortunate.
That is unfortunate because that's
like,
true.
It's so true. Remember
you got
that time?
Offended.
Yes. One day, this is a lady who wrote this song that I used to sing to y'all all the time. And it was this little like jingle about the alphabet. It's called the alphabet song. I'm not going to sing it because I'm a horrible singer, but you can look it up. Another to the camera, look it up. It's like A, You're Adorable is the name of the song.
A, you're adorable. B, you're so beautiful.
C, you're a cutie full of charms. There you go. That's it. And so there was like a little special on like CBS of like the lady who wrote this song and sang this song passed away. And I was like, oh, that's so sad because like special memory, because I used to sing this song to y'all. So I like record it and I send it to all of y'all in the Swag fam. And I'm like, oh, the lady who, sang this song died. And y'all are like, what's the significance of that song? Like, why? And I was like, you don't remember me singing you that song? And y'all were all like, no. And I was like, I sang that to you all the time when you were kids. What?
That's hilarious because that's actually not the moment I was thinking of. I had like a vivid memory. We were in a drive-thru. I can't remember what drive-thru. I remember like in a drive-thru, and I said something like, remember how Tu Mama always said to us, like, be a good leader and example today before school? And you're like, yeah. And you're like, what are some of the things that I said to y'all that like you remember? And me and Joe couldn't come up with one like phrase that you said that like stuck out to us. And you were like, are you serious? And then you're like telling us the phrases and we're like, what? But now I actually quote you all the time on this podcast. All of my listeners can attest to this. And I told you the other day, like, me and Steph were having a conversation, and I was like, you know how Mom always says? I said, you know how Mom always says, never make a big decision in like a chaotic time of life. Like, don't make a dramatic, life-changing decision when life is already in a different type of season. Because sometimes, like, when life is really crazy, you're like, I'm going to quit my job. And it's like, okay, you don't need to quit your job. Just like ride the wave,
take a bath,
get to the next season, take a bath,
go
like,
to sleep,
calm
take a
down.
nap. Yeah.
And like literally still when I quote you sometimes, I think about that time that you said, you don't remember any significant like
so
phrasing
funny.
that I said?
Well, I totally forgot that y'all did that. So I've forgotten that too.
That was so funny.
That is hilarious. It's probably like a good tip. Like, don't ask your kids, because y'all are probably like teenagers.
Yeah, we were teenagers.
Whenever I said that, like, don't ask your kids when they're teenagers, like, what they remember about what you said, because they probably won't remember
it later. Because now that I'm a mom, I say so many things. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was so what my mom would have said, or that is what my mom said. Even though, like, you do always say this, you're like, get rid of the shoulds. Like, I should have done this, I should have done that. Like, nah, get rid of the shoulds, just do it. You know, like, just things that I'm saying now. Even just leading a team, I say so many things, and I'm like, that was totally what my mom says. And my voice, like, maybe not to podcast listeners because they know my voice pretty well now, but a lot of people, like, if I answer the phone, they would be like, is this Korie or Sadie?
Yes.
Like, I sound like you. So sometimes I'm like, whoa, funny. That was weird.
I know. I never thought of that, but I've had people say that before, like lately too. Like, oh, Sadie sounds so much like you. That's sweet.
All right, let's talk about something that's had a really significant role in our family's life. That's Liberty University. Their mission is training champions for Christ and providing a premium Bible-based education. Liberty offers online education for everyone from primary school all the way up to the doctoral level. With Liberty University Online Academy, you can have access to an accredited K through 12th grade private Christian online academy that provides your family with a flexible Bible-based curriculum taught by certified teachers. They even have extracurricular activities like student clubs and field trips, giving your student the benefit of an entire homeschool community. So if you're in a season where you're thinking about higher education, Liberty offers more than 600 online degrees to choose from, so you can turn your passions into your career. Most classes are 100% online, and they are held in 8-week subterms without set login times, so your education can fit into any schedule and lifestyle. I actually took some online classes from Liberty and loved it. I know you will too. When I say it's like no set login time, it's super nice. So it's like Monday to Monday, you log in, you get your assignment, you just got to finish it before the next Monday or Tuesday. And it's so nice. It's so doable. So if you actually have some passion that you've been like, I want to go to school for this, the online program is a great place to start. Plus, they have so many options. I'm sure you'll find the one that speaks to you. If you prefer an in-person experience, though, Liberty has an incredible campus. You can test drive life at Liberty with college for a weekend this fall. It's a 3-day weekend where students in grades 11 or 12 and their families can visit the campus. So check out their classes. You can connect with other students. You can see what Liberty is all about. Visit liberty.edu/Sadie to learn more about these great online options today. And because you're a Well That's Good podcast listener, you'll actually get your application fee waived. So friends, don't wait. Go to liberty.edu/Sadie now and get started on your future goals today. Yeah, the story that I think we always go back to when it comes to like a parenting fail, which really wasn't. I think you might have been going through early stages of menopause, but was the classic. And this morning when I got my milk out for my coffee, you know what I did? I put it back in the fridge because there's this one moment where mom's always like, the one time
I lost it
on y'all, and y'all remember. That's the one thing I haven't forgotten. However, it has become something that I've laughed at for years. And I have to say one thing that I want to model in my family, and like I think you model really well. And this comes, I think everyone in our family pretty much is pretty good at this. And Uncle Si is like the best at this. It's like being able to laugh at yourself.
Yes.
And that is why Duck Dynasty was what it was, because like our family can laugh at ourselves. And I appreciate that you've given us the gift of being able to laugh at this day, because you could be very defensive and be like, that was not funny. Y'all were in the wrong, which we were. But I'll just never forget the day that we were at church, and the night before we had a bunch of friends over. Mom had just had surgery. So truly, like,
it wasn't, I had a hysterectomy.
Okay, yeah,
so
I didn't know if you wanted
that's
to say.
fine. No, that is fine. And I was recovering and not recovering well yet. Yes.
Now that I like understand, I'm like, wow, that was bad. But I didn't like when you're a hysterectomy, like what does that even mean? So like didn't have the grace I need to have for this moment in your life. So I do apologize for that. But you were like in the bed and we were having kind of not like a party, but we had a lot of friends over. And I don't know who did it. I think it was Jean-Luc because I don't drink milk like that. So I think that shows everything we need to know. It was Jean-Luc, but and I don't eat sandwiches
I think he had
like
made
deli
me a
meat.
milkshake.
Okay.
He had made me a
never owned that.
Well, no, because he left the milk out. I mean, I don't care what was the reasoning.
He left the milk out and like deli meat.
And deli meat.
Which I don't eat sandwiches with deli meat because I don't like deli meat and I don't drink milk. So that is not on me. But we all got
there was
thrown
like
into
dried mac and cheese in a pan.
Could have been me. That
just
one could have been me. I do
chips
eat mac and
open,
cheese. Could have also been me.
all of that.
So we had this fun night. And then the next day we went to church and we didn't clean any of it up.
And let me just say that like our house is not like
It's not like clean.
no, like
All the time.
No, it's clean, but it wasn't.
Like your expectation wasn't perfection.
No, it's messy. Like we have a lot of kids, we have a lot of life in the house, so our house is
Clean now.
Yeah,
the kids don't live
but
there.
even when y'all, when y'all live there, like I mean, it was messy a lot. So it's not like I was, like particularly like expecting perfection out of y'all.
This was uniquely messy.
This was extra messy. It was like a frat party had happened in our house. And beyond that, the thing that really got me was the milk out, the deli meat out. It was like no respect for like
fair.
For like things like not taking care of like food that was bought and purchased and not put back in the fridge. But
it was fair. It was all
my
fair.
reaction was
Everything
funny.
about it was fair.
Was funny.
You needed to be mad at that situation. that was a good thing to get onto us for. However, Mom texted us, was like, do not go anywhere for lunch after church. Drive through only and come straight to the house.
Well, it
and then
started.
then she says,
no, I think it started here.
Oh, it started
Yes.
with okay. So it started with this sentence that gripped us that we will never forget. I can't believe I raised a bunch of slobs. Slobs. She raised a bunch of slobs. The disappointment. I mean, you definitely used the word disappointment.
I'm sure I did.
It was like
I'm sure
everything you could say that was just like, it was like,
The
what
dagger.
have I done as a mom?
That is like what I felt in that
Yeah,
moment.
it was literally like, what have I done as a mom? I can't believe how y'all turned out. That was essentially what the message was saying. And then it was like, don't go anywhere for lunch. Drive through only. Come straight home.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, oh my gosh. Like, we've never gotten a text like that from you. And it was kind of like, who am I? Like, what have I become? Like, what happened? And we get home. I had this image ingrained. I hope I never forget it. Mom was in a robe. And
it's like my first time out of the bedroom after my surgery.
Towel twisted robe, sitting in Dad's chair like this. I can't even do it. We come around the corner, like it's like around the corner where we used to live. So like we have to go. It was where the man cave was, and there's like two open doors, and Mom's just sitting there like this. And we so awkwardly, no one says a word.
Y'all
Put our canes, raising canes, down on the table and offering, would you like some chicken? I don't think anybody said anything. We just sat down, and then we just got the talking of our life. And to this day, I'll never not put the milk up. I mean, I'll respect my deli meat and that my kids eat. Still don't eat deli meat. But that was
sometimes
too
you
good.
just have to go off in a robe and with your hair in a towel. And it has the desired effect. Y'all did clean up more after that. But I did apologize for calling you slobs because...
You did.
And being,
but we were being slobs.
But y'all were slobs. Yes.
Sometimes it's the talkings like that in life that you need. You need a little kick in the butt.
And I always say that was a pivotal moment for me too, though, because Dad said something to me in that moment as a mom that I think was really important. So I started that text out that said, I have raised a bunch of slobs. And Dad was like, why are you taking blame for this? Because it was like, I was taking it on me. I think that's what I felt in that moment of like, I didn't teach you well enough. I didn't do it right. I didn't train y'all to clean up after yourself, to value things. And so I was taking all of that in and making it be about something that I did wrong as a mom. And Dad was like, yes, you did.
Didn't do that. Yeah.
You taught them. They're old enough. They should be, they should be doing this. And so he was able to, which I feel like sometimes men are like able to like not take the blame for it as much with the kids. They're like, hey, and rightly so. And sometimes
so helpful.
Sometimes as moms, we take that blame on ourselves for everything. And so I remember that being like pivotal and a learning moment for me too, of being like, no, you don't need to take that blame.
Yeah.
They did it. They mess up. They should have cleaned up after themselves, and it's not on you. You know,
that's a good point. And to that point, like, for husbands to be able to be that for their wife is so huge. And if you don't have a husband and you're single parenting it, then maybe you have a friend group that can just affirm what they see in you as a mom, and maybe tell them you need that. We had a friend recently kind of share with us that she just kind of, the days are long, and sometimes you just like need someone to say like, I see you and you're doing a good job, and she didn't have that right now in that season. And so like, I appreciate it. She just told us, and it wasn't awkward. It wasn't weird. It was like, oh, thanks for telling us that. Like, I can see how that would be really hard. And Christian's been really helpful for me with that, even like the airplane thing. And it's like, I was like, oh my gosh. And Christian's like, you're not even gone that much. You take the last flight you can get and the earliest flight home. Like, you're in and out. And when you look at this whole month, you spoke like 3 times and you were in and out. Like, just like reminding you of truth. Like, you didn't do, whatever it is and whatever you get in your head about. Like, if I tend to get in my head about those things, and then someone else can see it and be like, no, you're there so much. You're the one. And it's just like nice to have the affirmation of what's true and what you're really doing, and someone else seeing that. And because you did not, that was not your fault. Like, you definitely taught us those things. It was just being teenagers and not doing it, So that's a great point. That's a great point. All right, what else did we talk about on the podcast?
Parenting with adult children.
Oh, man, this is personal. How hard is it right now to parent me?
I love parenting adult children. You get a lot of the rewards because it's fun, because you get to be friends with your kids. But also, there are parts of us that are harder, because when your kids enter college, like, the consequences are bigger. I just had this discussion with some people last week, some other women that were, their kids are in their 20s and they're making like big life decisions that sometimes can seem like are going to affect the rest of their life, which that's not always the case. But yeah, it feels like the things feel bigger, and you realize as a mom that like you actually are not in control, which is a good thing to probably learn earlier in life than when they're in their 20s, because you're not really in control. Your child is their own person, and they're going to grow up to be adults that are their own person. They're going to have their own families and all that. And so, as a mom, being able to just kind of relinquish that control or our feeling of control and give it to God, and know that God loves your kids even more than you do, which seems impossible, but he does. And so parenting adult kids, it has great rewards, but also can be hard because you worry about them,
Y'all, the internet is a crazy place. There are some really awesome, wholesome stuff out there, but unfortunately, a lot of harmful things too. And it's so important for us to guard our hearts and protect our family from the bad things the digital world has to offer. I'm so thankful for Covenant Eyes, an incredible tool that's changing the game when it comes to online safety and responsibility for men, women, and families. Covenant Eyes isn't just some software you download and forget about. It's actually a filter that protects your loved ones by providing accountability and filtering for your devices. It can help block harmful content and encourages healthy online habits. That focus on accountability is actually what makes Covenant Eyes different from any other filtering software. By partnering with a trusted friend or family member, you receive regular reports of your online activity, opening up a space for safe and supportive conversations and healing. So I know that's probably like the intimidating part of Covenant Eyes, is you're welcoming someone else into the journey with you. But that's the beauty of it. It says in the Bible, light shines in the darkness, and the darkness cannot overcome that light. So when you invite a friend in and shed light on something, man, it's so much more more powerful. You need accountability in this space. I'm so thankful for the accountability I have and my husband has. It makes us both have so much more peace about just going about online business. So whether you're a student, a spouse, or a pastor, Covenant Eyes empowers you to make wise choices online and stay true to your values. So if you're ready to take control of your online experience and protect what matters most, then I highly encourage you to check out Covenant Eyes. Visit covenanteyes.com/Sadie, and you can try it for free for 30 days. Again, that's covenanteyes.com/Sadie, and give it a try for free for 30 days. I have a legitimate question I don't think I've asked you in this way, because so not a lot of people know this. People say, like, when did LO start, and people see conference and they're like, okay, year 4. But actually 9 years ago, I went on my first LO tour. And so that was kind of the start of LO, other than like the website starting. We did a tour, and it was like, we tried to do it way too big, way too fast. Like, I was thinking, I don't know that even I was thinking this, but I guess the people that we teamed up with.
Well, we had done one tester in Nashville.
And it went really well.
It sold out so fast. It was huge. I don't even remember how many people came, but it was in a big stadium. 4,500 people. And it was like overflow, crazy. Yeah, sold out super fast, but it was like a one night only kind of thing. And so that led, I think, the team that was putting it on to say, like, oh, she can sell out big, giant stadiums.
Yes. And arenas at the time. They're like,
stadiums.
you could do arenas and do like an arena tour, which this was before I was speaking. So I wasn't even speaking and stuff. This was more just like, I came off Duck Dynasty, did some of the stars. I love Jesus. We're doing this kind of like unique night where we did we did skits. It was like really fun. But fun. So different than what I'm doing now. But it was kind of the start of LO.
Yeah.
And anyways, it did not, like some nights did really well. Like we sold out in Indianapolis. I'll never forget. It was so exciting. Like this theater was like so full and packed and amazing. And like an old school theater where like, I remember Ben Rector had just been there. I was like, this is so cool where Ben Rector went. But then other shows like literally sold 29 tickets in like a full, like it should have been like 2,000 and it was like 29. And we had to just cancel the show. Which is one, like, embarrassing, because then you have to like post online like this show is being canceled because we didn't sell tickets. And then like our New York show was like sold 200 tickets and we just did it. Instead of like canceling it, it should have been like maybe 1,500. We just showed up and it's 200 people, probably first 3 rows, like, because 200 in a big room, it doesn't take up much space, you know? And I remember being like, okay, it was super humbling and hard. And then that tour ended up losing a bunch of money. And it, from an outside perspective, like was not a success. Okay, when you're looking at me as like an adult child going for it finally, like I just do this thing, it loses money. Didn't really seem like it went super well. It was before I was really speaking, but it was titled Live Original. And now, 10 years later, I'm doing the same thing and it is going well. Were you worried for me? And did you think that's what I was going to do? Like, what were you thinking?
No, I was not worried for you. Actually, like when I look back on that tour, I just think of how much fun it was and how proud I was of y'all for going for it. I mean, I think one of the things that I think of that hopefully I instilled in y'all is that idea. I love that quote about like, if you try something and you fail, you're not a failure, you're a risk taker.
That's good.
I just love that quote. And I love just the idea that like, hey, you're going to try things and they're not going to all work, but that's part of life, and that's part of taking risk, and that's okay. And so like, I mean, I don't count the success of like that as being all on that one time, like, oh, that thing failed, because there was a ton of successes in that, 16 cities. There were incredible things that happened. You learned so many lessons. We learned lessons about like, okay, what will work and what won't. So like, I don't see that as a fail. I really see that as a learning process and part of it. And I think, we grew up in a family that my dad and granddad and, had lots of businesses, and some failed and some succeeded. And, not to be flippant about things that don't work or whatever, but to say like every single one is something that you learn on and you gain through. And I don't, I just don't look at look at things that way. I think it's more important to try.
Yes, I wanted to ask you that because I felt as though that's what you would say because that's what you have taught us. And that is what Papa really modeled is that like he started so many businesses and he's always told us about the businesses that failed, if you will. But each one led him to the next. And then he had a certain amount of businesses that majorly succeeded. And then that was great. And even people like Elon Musk is a really good example of this because like the thing that he has set out to do, like he hasn't done yet, you know, the big, I guess, goal of his, what is it like for people to live on Mars and all this kind of stuff, like that hadn't fully been accomplished. But in the meantime, he started like 4 other billion-dollar businesses that have like transformed the way we live. So it's like, is that a fail? No, that he hadn't reached like that one thing. He's had so many successes along the way. And there's probably other things he started that maybe we don't even know about, you know, like people like that, you just have to try. And you're gonna fail, but at the same time, yeah, again, it's not a fail. It's just you learn as you go. And I wanted to ask you that because I think a lot of adult children, like in their 20s, they feel like scared they're gonna disappoint their parents, you know? And I hear that a lot. You sense that a lot, especially like in college, after college. Like, I don't want to disappoint my family because I put all this time into something and now I got to go for it. And I think that you would be surprised to know, most of you guys, that like, I don't think you're going to disappoint your parents. Like, I think that the fact that you're going for it is, that is success in and of itself. Yeah. And I think too, that like most everybody has that moment, you know, like most everybody in their early 20s has the moment where they go like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do in my life? Or that didn't work, or I got to pivot, or whatever it is. And, you know, I think that maybe those are not the moments that are posted online. You're not seeing that. People aren't telling those parts of their stories, and nor do they even need to. That's not even like I'm not saying that as like, oh, we should share more. No, that's not even, you know, the thing that you're gonna post. But just know like everybody kind of goes through that. Yeah. And, you know, don't feel that pressure. I
think if we're honest, you know, as parents, we will look back and remember that within ourselves and know that like, oh, we're not actually doing the thing that we thought we were going to do when we were 18 years old, or we're not doing the things that we thought we went to college for and we spent all this money for, you know. And I do think sometimes parents can forget that and put that pressure, even if you're not intentionally putting that pressure on your kids. Sometimes they can feel that pressure of like, oh, I spent this much money for you for college. You have to do that, you know. But as parents, really, if we could just look back and be like, oh, it took tons of twists and turns and paths to get there. And so if your parent is putting that pressure on you or can't see it, just know that parents aren't perfect and we're going to, you know, make mistakes and not do it all perfectly. But one day they will see. And so sometimes it is that, like when you're in your 20s, you just got to stay the course and know that like, you're following God and his lead in this. And sometimes parents can put pressures that they don't even mean to. They don't even mean to.
And if you said it to them, they'd probably
be like, no,
no,
yes,
like,
no,
I do not want you to feel that way.
I don't mean that at all. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
It's so good. You want to just like, I know we don't have time to talk about all of them, but just run through a few more, just like share what we're going to be expecting for the Hello Mama podcast.
Yes. So we did one on loss and hurt where we just kind of really shared the hard parts. That was definitely the one that we cried on, the hard parts of our stories and things that we went through, and things like miscarriages and difficult times in marriage and things like that. So I think that was a really important one. We also talked about what your kids need at different stages. We really tried to kind of make this be something that is going to hit people who have kids who have parents who have toddlers or any age. And kids need different things kind of from every stage. So we talked about that. Anxiety and fear, because that's something that's common that people are really going through right now. And then pits and peaks, which is just kind of like, you know, high points and low points of parenting. And then finding balance, which that was a question we got a lot, and something that is like, everyone's like, how do I find balance in my life? And like, you know, you're never really going to find balance. Yep. There's going to be things that you're, you know, this or that. We talk about like, even in marriage, it's like, it's not always 50-50. There's going to be times when you're like, I'm giving 90 here, you're giving 10. And then it's going to be the other way around and all of that. So, you know, But that is a big question. Like, how do I find that balance in my life?
So good. Well, I know y'all are all looking forward to LO Mama now. Also, just want to say conference is a couple weeks out. We still have some tickets left. We'd love for you to be in the room. And Mom is once again leading the breakout session for parenting, family. It's not even parenting, it's just like family. So anyone's welcome in that. So when you buy your ticket at losisterconference.com, you can sign up for her breakout session and go join it. And it's going to be so good. It's her, to Mama, my grandma, and Sissy Goff, who was just on the podcast a few weeks ago talking about raising strong and brave children. She was talking all about the anxiety thing too. So if that speaks to you in this time, they will be live and in person in just a couple weeks. We are so excited about that. We would love to have you in the room. And of course, I love my podcast family. So here's a code for y'all. If y'all want to use the code WHOA20, that's WHOA 20, you can get $20 off your ticket. And if you're coming with a group of people, you can also get a group discount as well. And the last thing I'll mention too, because we are in a small town and most of the hotels I think are all sold out now. And so we know travel's crazy getting here, but we have a backup plan for you guys. If y'all are looking for a place to stay, just DM the Live Original Instagram account and we'll get you hooked up with a great place that we prepare for everyone to stay from coming from out of town. So if you're coming and you're looking for a place to stay, please DM the Live Original Instagram and we will get you a great place to stay. And also just wanted to say, since we're here, that in 2 days, Friday, my song, which is still so crazy to say, Mirror, is going to come out. And that is all about overcoming body image issues through the power of really believing and understanding that we are a child of God. And I know, like, back in the day, if someone would have just given me that answer, like, you're a child of God, I would have been like, I know, thank you. I still have body image issues. But I feel like just truly having the revelation of how God sees me really did change me. And so I wanted to sing that over myself. I wanted to sing that over you guys who are in the midst of that struggle. And Honey just told me the other night that Mirror is her favorite song. And I thought she was going to say a Little Mermaid song, Part of Your World or something, Scuttlebutt, all those. And she was like, Mirror. And I was like, that's so sweet. And she really does sing it all the time.
I love to hear her singing it. It's so cute.
She sings every word. She knows that whole song.
It's incredible.
It's so sweet.
You have to tell what you told me about her hearing Reeves sing that song. It's so
we've been writing a lot of songs for LO Worship lately, and I just wrote a song with Aiden when he was in town, and Mark, who is like behind the scenes, but just the greatest like songwriter and human. He helps with all of our LO Worship stuff. So I told Honey, I said, Honey, I want you to hear this new song I wrote, but Reeves was singing on it, and she loves Reeves. Like, Reeves is one of her favorite people. And she was like, listening to it, and she's like, Mommy, I thought you sang this song. And I was like, no, I wrote this song, but Reeves sings this song. She was like, no, I want you to sing this song. And I said, well, Reeves sounds so good on it. She went, no, you sound good. And then sweet. I was like, well, Honey, I want to Reeves sing this song. What's your favorite song? And she was like, Mirror. And then she wanted to play Mirror. And
that's so sweet.
And then she wanted to play Followers because she loves Lydia. She is LO Worship's biggest fan. But that's just been an exciting time for all of those things. And yep, it's coming out Friday. So don't miss that. And we'll be singing that at conference, which I'm really excited about. A really special moment that we have prepared for just that whole message that I'm excited to share. So join us there.
That moment is going to be powerful. I get chill bumps just thinking about it. I'm excited.
It's going to be very, very, very powerful. God has just given us such a timely message for this conference and all the women coming. We just can't wait. So Mom, can't wait for LO Mama. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so, so good. This is maybe a glimpse of what y'all will expect, except it'll be better because she's with Beth Redman, who has a beautiful British accent. And Mom, they almost called the podcast like Accents. And we were like, that doesn't have anything to do with what you're talking about. But it was kind of the funny contrast of your country voice and her British voice. But you guys have so much wisdom
you're gonna
to
learn,
share.
Yeah, she's so great. Learn so much from her.
It's going to be great. Well, thanks, Mom.
Love doing this with you, baby.